Welcome back, my lovely viewers. This is part 2 of the story titled, He Lost His Job and Did This to His Wife. This story is full of surprises. Please watch to the end and share with your friends. We love you all. Let's begin. As Emma lay in bed that night, she decided to take action. She thought about pleading with her manager, Rena, to see if they could employ Stephen at another office branch. Emma hoped that if Stephen had a job, things would improve at home. The next morning, Emma went to her manager and explained her problems in confidence. Rena listened attentively, her face showing concern and understanding. Emma, you've always been such a dedicated employee. You've helped out with extra jobs without any extra pay. I want to help you, but I don't think we have any openings here. However, I do have a network of friends in various industries. Let me see what I can do. 4 days later, Rena called Emma into her office. I have good news for you, Emma. A friend of mine who runs a beverage packaging company is looking for a manager. I've recommended Stephen, and he's been offered the job. I hope this helps. Emma's eyes filled with tears of gratitude. Thank you so much, Rena. This means the world to me. When Emma told Stephen about the job offer, he was initially skeptical. Why would they hire me? I haven't worked in a while. Emma smiled, trying to be encouraging. Because you're capable, Stephen. This is a fresh start for us. Stephen started working at the beverage packaging company and began to feel like a man again. He was happy with himself and even started saving money. As time went on, he earned well and seemed more content. However, Emma noticed a few changes in Stephen's behavior. He began coming home late at night. While Emma was busy trying to rebuild trust and restore harmony in their marriage, Stephen began slipping back into his old ways. Unknown to Emma, Stephen had a history of infidelity that he had managed to keep hidden from her. Now, with a stable income and a sense of self-worth restored, he resumed his secret life. Stephen's new job provided him with enough money to not only support his household but also to indulge in his vices. He started seeing several women, squandering money on expensive gifts and fancy dinners. He skillfully balanced his double life, ensuring that Emma remained in the dark about his extracurricular activities. At home, Stephen maintained a facade of a loving and reformed husband. He showed Emma enough affection and attention to keep her suspicions at bay, but his heart was elsewhere. He justified his actions to himself, believing that he deserved to enjoy life after the struggles he had faced. Emma, despite her efforts to maintain peace, began to notice subtle changes in Stephen's behavior. He was often distracted, his phone was always with him, and he seemed to be hiding something. Late-night texts and unexplained absences became more frequent. Emma's initial concerns resurfaced, but she hesitated to confront Stephen again, fearing another explosive argument. One evening, as Emma was tidying up the living room, Stephen received a call. His face lit up, and he quickly left the room to take it. Emma's curiosity got the better of her, and she quietly followed him, listening from the hallway. Stephen's tone was soft and flirtatious. I miss you too. I can't wait to see you again. Tomorrow night sounds perfect. Emma's heart sank. She knew she had heard enough. This time, she needed to gather more evidence before confronting Stephen. She decided to reach out to Rena for advice once more. The next day, Emma visited Rena during her lunch break. She poured out her heart, explaining her suspicions and the phone call she had overheard. Rena looked concerned. Emma, I'm so sorry you're going through this. It's important to gather as much information as you can before confronting Stephen. If he's cheating, you need to protect yourself. Emma nodded, grateful for Rena's support. I don't know how to handle this, Rena. I want to believe he's changed, but I can't ignore what I'm seeing and hearing. Rena gave Emma a reassuring smile. We'll figure this out together. Be careful and stay strong. If he is cheating, you need to catch him red-handed in the act. We can hire services for that. Emma was taken aback. Hire services? What do you mean? Rena leaned in closer. There are private investigators who specialize in this kind of thing. They can help you gather concrete evidence without putting yourself at risk. I know someone reliable. Emma thought for a moment, her heart heavy with the weight of her suspicions. Okay, let's do it. I need to know the truth. Emma and Rena decided to employ the services of a private investigator, Mr. Johnson, who had previously helped Emma. Mr. Johnson got to work, following Stephen and documenting his activities meticulously. He provided Emma with all the evidence she needed: photos, videos, and recordings of Stephen with his various girlfriends. Despite having all the evidence, Emma found herself unable to confront Stephen. The realization that the man she had supported when he had nothing was now betraying her so profoundly was too much to bear. She fell into a deep depression, unable to process the magnitude of Stephen's betrayal. Emma stopped going to work, unable to face the world. She couldn't take care of herself, let alone manage her job. The once vibrant and hopeful woman was now a shadow of her former self. She kept the evidence aside, knowing she would need it eventually but unable to muster the strength to do anything with it. Meanwhile, Stephen continued with his life, oblivious to the depth of Emma's suffering. He began to complain about her smell and called her lazy and useless. "Emma, you're just lying around all day doing nothing. What's wrong with you? You're so useless," he would shout. Emma, lost in her depression, barely responded. The words cut deep, but she was too numb to react. Rena, noticing Emma's absence from work, visited her at home. She found Emma in a disheveled state, the house in disarray. "Emma, what's happened to you?" Rena asked, her voice filled with concern. Emma broke down in tears. "I can't do this anymore, Rena. I have all the evidence, but I can't confront him. I feel so weak, so betrayed." Rena hugged Emma tightly. "You're not alone in this, Emma. We'll get through this together. You need to take care of yourself first. Let's get you back on your feet." Emma eventually managed to carry herself and was totally dependent on Stephen. However, his treatment of her only worsened. With no job and no source of income, Emma felt trapped and vulnerable. Stephen's verbal abuse became a daily occurrence. He called her worthless and demeaned her at every opportunity. One evening, Stephen came home with a woman. Emma, feeling weak and helpless, looked on in disbelief as they walked into the house, laughing and chatting. Stephen barely acknowledged Emma as he introduced the woman. "This is my wife, Emma," he said with a sneer. "The useless one I told you about." Emma felt her heart sink and a wave of nausea hit her. She struggled to stay composed, but the humiliation was too much. She almost fainted, gripping the edge of the table to steady herself. Stephen continued as if nothing was amiss. "Make yourself comfortable," he told the woman, ignoring Emma's presence. "Emma, get us something to drink." Emma, tears welling in her eyes, moved slowly towards the kitchen. She couldn't believe what was happening. The man she had once loved and supported was now parading his infidelity in front of her. The weight of her depression pressed down on her, making every step feel like an immense effort. As Emma reached the kitchen, she took a deep breath. Rena's words echoed in her mind, "You're not alone in this, Emma. We'll get through this together." She knew she had to find the strength to fight back, to reclaim her dignity. Emma returned to the living room with drinks, her hands shaking but her resolve hardening. She placed the drinks on the table and looked directly at Stephen. "I need to talk to you. Now." Stephen glanced at her dismissively. "Can't you see we're busy?" "No," Emma said, her voice firm. "This can't wait." The woman looked between Emma and Stephen, sensing the tension. "Maybe I should go." Stephen waved her off. "Stay. Emma, whatever it is, it can wait." Emma took a deep breath, feeling a spark of the strength she once had. "No, it can't. This is my home too, and I won't be treated like this anymore." That night, after the woman left, Emma called Rena and told her everything that had happened. Rena was furious and insisted on coming over immediately. "You don't deserve this, Emma. We need to get you out of there." Rena arrived and found Emma in a state of shock. "You're coming with me," she said, packing Emma's essentials. "You need a safe place to stay while we figure this out." Emma hesitated but knew Rena was right. She couldn't stay in the house any longer. But she couldn't leave her marriage. She hoped that things would get better, that Stephen would change. Months passed, and Stephen's maltreatment only worsened. He continued to bring women into the house, blatantly disrespecting Emma. Each day felt like an eternity as Emma endured the constant humiliation and emotional abuse. One evening, after another night of Stephen's blatant infidelity, he approached her with a sneer. "You should leave the house," he said coldly. "Your skin color isn't my type of woman anyway." The words cut deep, and Emma felt her heart shatter. She realized that there was no hope left in this toxic environment. With nothing but the clothes on her back, she finally made the painful decision to leave. She couldn't bear to stress her parents, so she turned to the one person who had always been there for her, Rena. Emma arrived at Rena's doorstep, tears streaming down her face. Rena opened the door and immediately embraced her. "It's okay, Emma. You're safe now," she whispered, guiding her friend inside. Emma poured out her heart, sharing everything she had endured. Rena listened intently, her heart breaking for Emma. "You did the right thing by leaving," Rena said softly. "You deserve so much better than this." Rena insisted that Emma stay with her until she could get back on her feet. "You don't have to worry about anything," Rena reassured her. "We'll take it one step at a time." Decided to help Emma in any way she could. She offered Emma a new position within the company, one that came with a better salary and more responsibilities. "I believe in you, Emma. This could be a fresh start," Rena encouraged. With her new job, Emma began to regain her confidence. She worked diligently, earning the respect of her colleagues. She also started therapy to help heal the emotional scars left by Stephen's abuse. Meanwhile, the company Stephen worked for faced financial difficulties and was eventually sold to new owners. This resulted in massive layoffs, and Stephen found himself jobless once again. The news hit him hard, and the reality of his situation quickly set in. Without the financial stability his job provided, Stephen's girlfriends, who were more interested in his money than him, began to distance themselves. Stephen's life took a drastic turn for the worse. He was now without a job, without his mistresses, and without Emma's support. He began to feel the weight of his poor decisions and the loneliness that came with it. His arrogance and mistreatment of Emma had left him isolated, and he had no one to turn to. Desperate and regretful, Stephen decided to seek out Emma, hoping to reconcile and gain her sympathy. He tried to contact Emma, but she was sure now that she won't want to be with him again. Emma, seeing the pitiful state Stephen was in, felt a mix of anger and pity. "You made your bed, Stephen," she replied coldly. "Now you must lie in it." She served him divorce papers. Rena stood by Emma's side, her arms crossed and a stern expression on her face. "You have no right to come here and ask for her help after everything you've done," Rena said firmly. "You need to leave, Stephen." Stephen looked defeated, but he knew Rena was right. He had no choice but to turn away, realizing that he had pushed away the one person who had always been there for him. As Stephen walked away, Emma felt a sense of closure. She had finally confronted her past and stood up to the man who had caused her so much pain. With Rena and Anita's continued support, she focused on her healing and moving forward. Without a job or a place to stay, Stephen's life continued to spiral downward. He found himself on the streets, struggling to survive. The people who had once flocked to him for his money and status were nowhere to be found. He was truly alone, facing the consequences of his actions. Emma, on the other hand, was thriving. She continued to excel at her job, earning promotions and the respect of her colleagues. She also began to rebuild her social life, making new friends and reconnecting with her family. The scars of her past were still there, but she was stronger and more resilient than ever. Emma's journey had been difficult, but she had emerged from it with a renewed sense of self-worth and determination. She knew that she deserved happiness and was ready to embrace whatever the future held. Surrounded by supportive friends like Rena and Anita, Emma looked forward to a life free from fear and filled with hope. Stephen's fate served as a stark reminder of the consequences of one's actions. He had lost everything because of his selfishness and cruelty. Emma, on the other hand, had regained her strength and independence, proving that resilience and kindness could overcome even the darkest of times. As Emma stood on the balcony of her new apartment, looking out at the city lights, she took a deep breath and smiled. She had found her inner strength and was ready to face the future with courage and hope. And with friends like Rena and Anita by her side, she knew that she could achieve anything she set her mind to. The story of Emma and Stephen carries several important moral lessons. It highlights the significance of treating others with respect and kindness, showing that cruelty and selfishness lead to loneliness and downfall. The narrative also underscores the importance of resilience and self-worth, as Emma's journey demonstrates that strength and determination can help overcome even the most challenging situations. It serves as a reminder that genuine support and friendship are invaluable during difficult times, and that people who misuse their power and mistreat others ultimately face the consequences of their actions. Additionally, it emphasizes that true love and loyalty cannot be bought, and that personal growth and happiness come from within, not from external validation or material wealth. Thanks for watching this video. Please stay tuned in for more amazing and thought-provoking stories with moral lessons. Keep being happy, and until next time.